Ramble Truth podcast with your girl Els. I have a new artist who has hit the scene. I know you guys may or may not have heard of him, but he's a dope ass artist. I'm gonna tell you that much. I've been listening to him, but I'm gonna introduce you, Koopah from
Hello.
Jamaica, but from Brooklyn. Hi, Koopah. How are you, babes? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Now, the first thing I'm gonna ask is, why did you name yourself Koopah? And if so, like, is that your first name? Is that your last name?
Okay. So Koopa has been like my username pretty much for like everything for the most part, since I was younger than I am. Um, so my last name is actually Cooper, so it's spelled Coopr. And I was a young kid and I was just like, I'm gonna just say Koopa because at the time I was just thinking of Mario because everybody loves Mario. I love Mario, and I'm thinking of the turtle. It's named Koopa Troop. I'm like Koopa, why not? Then later, when I started my artist journey, I was just like, my last name is Cooper. Koopa makes sense. I'm Jamaican, so put it together. You know,
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I like your name. So, but we want to make sure everybody pronounces it right. So it's Koopa. But
Koopa.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you got the accent, you put that on it, then it come out even better.
Well, they
Now,
said
how?
Koopa.
There you go. Koopa. All right. So how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 23.
See, 23 and a new artist on the scene. How do you feel being that you're new into like the music industry? I know your first single came out in March. You just released another single back in June. And then I know, of course, you're going to be probably releasing another single probably before the year out or probably in the new year.
Right. So, being a new artist in uh, this new environment is different for me because growing up, I've always been singing all my life, and I grew up in the church, so that's pretty much what mostly I know. That's my foundation, and I've always played, instruments like piano, drums, and bass, and singing, obviously, and transitioning from doing it in church, and then obviously for myself into now the music industry and being able to put it into the world is like it's just unique and different because there's always goods and there's always bads that come with it. But it has taught me a lot, not only about myself but also as an artist as well, because obviously me as me and then Koopa is two different people. However, we're the same entity. So understanding how to distinguish those two and realizing that each version of Koopa and each version of myself, Matthew, you know, they're the same but different. Um, and then going into the end of this year, since the second song, I've already dropped two more songs after that. More recent songs called Rediscovery. It's out on all platforms, so it's super dope. It's a little 80s vibe, 70s vibe with R&B soul, so it's pretty dope.
Okay, so being that I know you grew up in the church, most of your music creativity comes from that. But in this day and age, music is very different from back in the 80s, the 90s vibe. Who are some of the artists that you really like gear some of your music from?
Oof, it's a lot. It's a lot.
All right, so let's name the top three.
That's hard too, because then I want to put like four in the three and but I can name the ones that immediately come to my head. So um uh Jabari Johnson is one. He's a gospel singer, amazing voice. I just feel like we vocally, connect. Um who else? PJ Morton as well as another one. Great singer, amazing musician as well. Um Lucky Day. Um over the years. That man voice is insane. Like no one can tell me nothing. Okay. Um, Chris Brown, obviously vocally insane ever since he was young. Despite all the controversy, regardless, we're talking about the music. This man's voice is
People to leave that in the past. Like it happened, he played his debt, but you know how the industry is. It's very funny, but we'll get into that.
very, and also Daniel Caesar as well. Daniel Caesar, I grew up listening to a lot of Daniel Caesar, and I'm like, yo, the way he arranges his voice is like, it don't make sense how it reaches people because it's been lasting since he dropped Get You. I think that's the song. And since he dropped that, like that song has still been ringing since what 2016, 15, 17, like those years, like insane. So
The thing about music, like if the artist can, leave an imprint on someone, that's amazing, especially if it's from like years back. That's like Frank Ocean. We all trying to still wait for another Frank Ocean, to drop something. But at the end of the day, we still hear Think About You how many times and being like, wow, it feels like the song just came out. So could you imagine how it's going to be for you? You've let out 4 singles this year alone. How it's going to be in the next 5 years is the biggest thing that I think we all should look forward to because you're going to be a huge artist. You're already huge as it is, but you're going to get there. So now my biggest thing for you is now that this industry is funny. I always ask this question. The industry is funny. Do you feel like you are going to be the artist that you want to be signed to a label, or do you want to be more independent, continue to be independent?
yeah, I feel like I would. The idea of being signed is something that I've thought about. But I'd rather still, prolong that and be independent because I feel like I like the creative control of, excuse me, of how I am as an artist and being able to decide when I want to put music out versus being tasked to do so. Because then if it's tasked, it's kind of like not as fun. Um, but if the deal is right, I'm taking it. But other than that, I'd rather continue, just be independent, just grow as an artist and, grow organically and be able to do that before I make that big decision.
Totally can understand that. And is there any particular artist you see yourself collaborating with in the future?
Mm, hmm. I have no idea. Like there's a lot of artists that like I don't even like I'm not even gonna say that about myself because that sounds like I'm like doubting myself, so I'm not gonna do that. But I don't know. I just like I feel like I appreciate their art for what it is. Granted, I would love to collaborate with a lot of artists, but as of right now, I haven't give it too much thought, so I don't really have a full answer for you.
Okay, listen, you have time. This is more about you and what you bring to the table, like, over the years of music. So right now it's about you. So all right, let's get back to the songs that you write. Um, in this day and age, many people write about love. Many people write about. I hear that the more that you write about songs of you being heartbroken, your music reaches to the top limit. Now, I'm not saying be Keisha Cole. Right? I'm not saying be Chris Brown drunk texting, but I'm saying like, what direction are you trying to go with the lyrics of your songs? Like, as you continue to write, and do you write most of your songs, or do you actually have someone else that write, or you do a little bit of like a little bit of both?
So I write all my songs, like everything. It all comes from me. Um, I may get like an opinion here and there. Other than that, everything is authentically my brain, how I'm feeling. Um, and when it comes to like how I make the music and the direction, it's mostly based on an experience or how I'm feeling based off that experience or how I'm feeling in the moment. And I want my music to transcend time. I want people to be able to call back to this song whenever they feel happy or sad or feel like they're excited or just want to vibe or just want some energy. So the whole purpose of even me making music in general was for not only myself, so I can express myself in a manner that's safe, but also expressive and authentic to me, but also that the words that I use and things that I say and um, the experience that I've been through, I can put that in music and somebody else can relate. So I want them to be able to understand it from their own perspective and then either allow it to heal them or make them one step closer to who I am as an artist.
Okay,
Right.
I hear you on that. Okay.
Yeah.
And out of your singles that you have out right now, which one's your favorite?
My favorite, my favorite is the one I actually just dropped. Actually, because so it's called Rediscovery. Like I said before, and the reason why it's my favorite is because the purpose of that song is to call back to when you were younger or the times where you were the most happiest, because life sucks and life is not always the greatest. And a lot of times there's a lot of things that happen that you can't control, a lot of emotions that, come about that just happen. And I wanted to make a song that puts you in a mindset of reminding yourself of those happy times, having a nostalgic flashback into those times to where you can be able to say, I remember that time. It made me feel good. It makes me feel good now. So why not continuously have that feeling presently? You know what I'm saying? So, um, and whenever I'm down or, I just need like something to just remind me of like, yo, keep moving forward, keep pushing the pedal, because at the end of the day, life is going to happen, but it just won't wait for you. So at the end of the day, you can sit and sit in your sorrow, or you can just choose to be happy and move forward with it. So this is something that I use on a day-to-day basis, or times when I need it, and I hope others can use it the same way.
I completely agree. Okay. Listen, he may be young, y'all, but he's wise. He's a wise. You could tell that you have a very old soul. So it's like the way you speak about your music, the way you speak about life is it's very old school. I really love it. Well, what we're gonna do is right now we're gonna take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back after this. So make sure y'all come back and y'all give us a minute though. Hey guys, so we had to take a quick break. Koopa's music is amazing, and I want to make sure that you guys are able to check it out on all major platforms. So below, you're going to see the link. Please make sure you go check it out. Believe me, all four singles are hands down great. All right, so let's get back to the episode so we could go find out some more about them.
You know I've waited for a time like this so I can just go on. Get this feeling singing to me like a song. I couldn't imagine a feeling that feels so warm. We feel like I'm watching the sunrise up in the morning. It's
Hey guys, we're
encouraging.
back on Undeniable Truth podcast with Koopah, the newest artist on the scene. And this is part three of the truth behind the lyrics. So, Koopah, now, being that you have written four different songs and we know which one's your favorite, and they're all from experiences, how does your songs resonate with the way that the world we live in right now, from relationships to situationships, whatever it may be? I want you to explain to everyone like these four songs, how they all resonated, how do they all coincide with today's day in life?
Okay, so my first song, Wayo, I made that song literally like 2 weeks after a breakup. Excuse me. So, because
You you even wait like you said 2 weeks, like
it was 2 weeks. So literally because I wanted to continue making music, and I didn't want to make any sad music, because I was like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. So I was at my bro house and I was like, yo, I want to make an Afrobeat song, because he was playing Afrobeats, and that's what I did. And it ended up turning into me expressing myself, expressing how I was feeling, and reasons to why like we can't be together. So that's more of an upbeat like breakup song, kind of. And it's funny because when I found out what Wayo meant, because Wayo actually in African pidgin language, it means trickery and deception. So when I say forgive myself in the song, I'm saying Wayo, Wayo, forgive myself. So forgive myself from the trickery and deception that I allowed to continue and stuff like that. And I didn't find that out till, like the song was already dropped. So I was like, all right, cool.
it went with the vibe of what just happened. So hey, okay, okay.
Yeah. Now the other two songs, Nayman and Slide, those two songs are pretty much just like basically love songs, because I felt like the world is lacking that, because we're so stressed, and life will always happen. You lose a friend, you lose a loved one, you lose a relationship, situationship, which you shouldn't even have for real. But um a lot of things always happen that way, and then just people get become bitter. And I wanted to make a song where it's just like bring more love into the air, and then talk about things that people don't normally talk about. Like, I want to see you, I want to take you out, let's travel, let's do this, like let's hang out, let's have a conversation. Like, I miss that smile. Certain things that people find known, like, I guess people who don't are not like super open are might seem a little corny, but sometimes it's sweet too because not a lot of people hear that often, and sometimes it's good to hear that, especially when it's through music. So that's something I really just wanted to bring back. And then again, rediscovery, pretty much just to call back to living life more peaceful and living happier every day despite what you may be going through. So those are pretty much the ideas behind why I made those songs.
Okay. No, don't believe me, those are really good reasons. Now, now that you've been through a breakup, because like I said, I make fun of him, guys. I'm like, yo, you're mad young. You haven't even lived life yet. Because I'm always talking about I'm old. Um, being that you've been through a breakup in this day and age, like, what advice would you give other people right now after what you just learned from your breakup?
Man, I would definitely say make sure that you take care of yourself first, because sometimes a lot of us decide to, we leave someone, wait a couple months and think we're okay, and then jump into situations, or, try to be with people that, we think we're ready for and we're not. And that's just, the the camouflage behind you covering your own trauma and your own hurt because you assume that you're okay. And sometimes it's okay to take some time to understand who you are, understand why you're hurting, understand where it comes from. Because then, whenever you're ready for that, you'll be able to then know how to actually maneuver whenever you see the red signs or see the red flags or see things that you do not resonate with anymore for the version of you that is right now. So I would definitely say take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually first before deciding to interact with anyone, and then you'll be able to you know discern who is actually for you and who's not. So
Yes, I agree with that. And now that you are in the music business can be rough. And when it starts to get real deep, you're touring, you're doing this, you're doing that. Do you see yourself being with anyone while you're in the industry? Because it's kind of hard to maintain.
yeah, I honestly don't think I do, just because I've started to realize how focused I've become, and being able to balance personal relationship with business is already difficult. So I'd rather remain focused till I get to where I need to be to then focus on that versus trying to force something that doesn't make sense. Because then I'll just stress myself out. I don't need to stress no more than I already am, because life is, like I said, life be life. And so at the end of the day, I'd rather just focus on my passion than try to force anything.
Now, knowing all of this, moving forward, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years with your music? Do you see yourself doing more than music? Do you see yourself just staying in the music game or doing a little bit of everything? Movies, TV, commercials, like.
Like, it's funny because even before I started making music, I always had like this big idea of, taking my music far, because the main idea of what I want for my music is to, like I said, transcend time. And I want people to use my music as a catalyst to help them throughout their day to day, regardless of what it looks like. And I've always thought about, having my music in movies and TV shows and being able to be in commercials and, touring. Because I'll just be walking randomly on the street, and then I'll just have a vision just randomly pop in my head, and I'm like on stage just touring, and then I'll be scrolling, seeing all other artists do the same thing that I want to do. So it's like the fact that I constantly see that, and it always reminds me that I'm on the right path. I just got to keep going till I get there, because it will come. It's just manifesting itself as I constantly think about it. So definitely, for sure, I definitely want to do that, and touring abroad too. That's a big thing that I would like to do for sure.
Listen, manifestation is very big. Believing in God It's even bigger. I think a lot of people don't believe. I don't usually, like I say on my other episodes, I don't usually get into it to talk religion and stuff, but I don't think enough people sit here to say that if it's not for God, you would not be able to be where you are right now in life. You're able to get up every morning and breathe, have a roof over your head, food on the table, and still moving to do what you love. That's where it all begins. So I completely understand that. All right. What is one thing right now that you would love fans to know about you that I haven't even asked
One thing, well, I do have a show coming up on December 13th. Uh, it's going to be at the venue called We Are Here on Johnson Avenue. It's called We Who Got Motion, hosted by Josiah Jones, and I'll be headlining that show. So, old doors over there at 7:30. So pop out, it'll be dope.
you? This
Um,
this is in Brooklyn.
yes, it's in Brooklyn.
Okay, we gotta tell people. You say it an avenue, nobody knows. I may know, but not your listeners.
You're right. You're right. You're
But hold
right.
on. But everybody, listen, you're going to be able to see all this information because we're going to make sure you see the name of the single. You're going to be able to see the link for his IG, the YouTube, whatever it may be. So we're going to make sure to keep you guys in tune with that. Now, I'm going to ask you 3 questions
Okay.
randomly. I want you to just answer. It's like
All
how
right.
to them getting to know you. One thing right now. Are you single right now? Because there's going to be
Yes,
girls that be like, he's cute. Is he single? I don't know.
yes, I
Okay.
am.
Um, what is one of your biggest pet peeves with anybody?
Um, no communication. Like I hate it. Like I've grown up always be saying like you don't listen to me, you don't listen to me because of my own trauma. But I'm working on that, and but being able to have proper communication and be able to comprehend each other is something that I really like. Friendship, relationship, or whatever it is, like that's my biggest thing. So if there's no communication, then I ain't got nothing to talk about.
And if you could change anything about yourself right now, what would it be? Because we're all not perfect. And that's a real question. Like, there's something that we all will want to change about ourselves. And I don't mean appearance wise, it could just be anything. What would you change about yourself now? Like, if you had the opportunity to?
I would change the fact um, that I sometimes think that I know everything. Now, in the sense of there may be a lot of things that I do know, but there'll be things that I do need to hear again that in my mind I've heard already, and I'll tell myself, yeah, I know this already. Not in no cocky way or condescending way, just more like I know this, but I can see how that can come off, and that's something I want to be able to work on and understand for myself, so that like I'm more open to saying instead of saying I know versus saying that I understand where that's coming from and I can see your point of view. So
Listen, the first step is taking accountability. You took accountability to knowing that you need to change something. Okay. All
absolutely.
right. Well, I appreciate you meeting with me. Guys, if you didn't know, it's in the middle of the day on a Monday. But we meeting and making sure you guys get to know Koopah. All right. So go check his page out. Like I said, everything will be linked. Thank you, Cooper, for having the time to, speak with me. I can't wait to hear more music that's going to come out. And yeah, and guys, make sure you tune in to our latest episodes on Undeniable Truth with Euro and our episode before that with Bree, because this is part 3 right here of the truth behind the lyrics. And there's part 2 and part 1. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Have a good one.
Personally, I just want to get to know your name.